quite unusual because when I was a lad, the father of the groom just sort of sat back and got quietly drunk. I think I've been doing that. But, I mean, first of all, nobody sort of already stole my thunder, but the football team I've supported since I was a young lad, Hearts, or the Jambos as they're called, actually absolutely slaughtered Hibs today. They won 5-1, so yeah. And also just the team that Ocean supports, and when I persuaded them that Chelsea was too expensive to support and started supporting Reading, they actually got promoted to the Premiership, so that was pretty good as well. So. But I'm going to keep it very, very short, but it's very, very hard to believe that our little boy got married today. When he was very, very small, and Ray and Barbara, who very good friends of ours from our Botswana days who are here today, remember that Osher was asked what his name was, and he said, Otis the boy. Well, Otis the boy got married. And it just seems like yesterday that I was sitting in no man's land between Botswana and South Africa, and Mary's contractions were getting more frequent, and I was just waiting for this South African soldier to come and open the gate so I could get down to the nearest hospital on the South African side of the border. And I just can't believe that my son got married today. I do sort of regret that over the years that perhaps I haven't given him enough advice. And the first bit of advice that I want to give him is that, contrary to popular opinion, I'm not under Mary's thumb. Now, Mary Jane knows what I'm talking about. What you've got to do, and I think Nobby was trying to allude to this, you've got to be subtle about it. You know, pretend you're not. I mean, I've got a Reading season ticket. Mary can't stand football. So that's the first thing. And the other thing is, don't sign up to anything that you haven't signed up to already. You signed the register today. But don't believe it if Mary Jane suddenly comes up with some retrospective prenuptial agreement. Your mother produced this about sort of 10 years after we got married, and apparently she got it from my father, and I blame him. He sort of said to Mary one day, he says, I hope that Stewart brings you tea or coffee in bed every morning. You know, Mary said, no, he doesn't, but you know, we'll make sure that he does in future. So apparently this was in the prenuptial agreement. There's other things like keeping Mary's feet are like ice boxes. There's things about keeping her feet warm and stuff like that. Don't agree to anything you haven't agreed to already. Mind you, you are quite streetwise. Mary remembers many years ago that when you and your sister Thea used to sort of put the world to rights every night, and bath time was a social event. It was usually Thea rabbiting on, and you'd go, grunt, yes, yes, yes. But you did actually come out with some words of wisdom one night, and you said, you better ask Dad, because you'll get away with it. Mum won't agree to it for either of us. And Dad won't agree with me. Where you got it wrong was I gave in to both of you. Nobby and Sally, thank you very much for putting up with my son. I don't know how you did it. I think you brainwashed him in many ways. He not only became a royal supporter, he used to go and watch Darlington occasionally on a winter's night, which I thought was pretty magnanimous of him. I loved my in-laws very much, but I couldn't see a situation where I could have lived with them for 2 years, or them live with me for 2 years. They couldn't understand why, you know, when I was staying with them in the village they lived in, that I wanted to go and watch the village football team play football on a Saturday afternoon. I couldn't understand anybody who would want to do that. And sort of thinking sorry, I must be train of thought here. Sort of thinking about that, and in terms of, you know, sort of Mary Jane and Ocean, I know that they have an inclination. I'd be very, very surprised if they didn't, because of what Mary Jane studied as her extra degree about, you know, sort of medicine in sort of developing countries, and Ocean having been brought up in developing countries, that I I think at some stage they'll go and live in Africa or somewhere else in the world. Don't invite us to stay if you don't mean it. And just bear in mind, your in-law, if you're living overseas, your in-laws don't come for the weekend. They come for 6 weeks or so. So, well, why are we here? Well, we're here to celebrate a marriage. And I can remember the first time I met Mary Jane, Reading were playing Leeds in Leeds. Thea's getting fed up because I'm talking about football.
She's not the only one.
Thea, you came with me that day because you wanted to meet Oshin's new girlfriend. And I think we were both very positively impressed. And I had a gut feeling, and I thought, this is the young lady that I would, sort of like Oshin to be with in the future. And you came out with us to that football match, and you got a bang in the head with a hockey stick, I think, that day. You then went off to Africa, I think, or you'd been to Africa, and you went up Kilimanjaro. And all I heard from Oshin after that was that this girl I was with, she was suffering from altitude sickness really badly, but she knew I wanted to get to the top. We were down to the last guy, and if she had to go back down, they would have finished the trip. And you sort of struggled on, my little boy, so you could sort of realise that ambition. So, we're sort of very, very grateful for that.
It's a metaphor.
But even more than that, after you got engaged, I understand it was Christmas 2010 was the first Christmas you ever actually spent with your own family. You came and spent it with us. And I'm sure you found that Christmas with us was very regular, and it was very winter, and it was all very well organised. You knew when the meals were coming and that sort of thing. That's a joke, by the way. It's very different. And we greatly appreciated that. And Oshin, you have just become married to a very beautiful and intelligent and caring and amusing young lady. So just look after her, because otherwise you're going to have problems from me. And thank you, Mary Jane, for marrying our son. And just one word of advice to you both, and this is, sort of, I can't do more than 40 years of marriage, but we've been married about 36 years now. Don't take each other too seriously. Just take each other seriously when it really matters. And someone said to me last night, someone that doesn't know you terribly well, but he said, Mary Jane and Oshin, they seem to amuse each other. They